The old Blackwood mansion stood on a hill overlooking the town. It was a place where stories were born, dark stories whispered by children on their way home from school. They said it was haunted, that shadows moved in the windows even when no one was there. But Lily wasn't afraid. She was curious. One hot summer afternoon, when the air was still and heavy, she pushed open the creaky iron gate. The path was overgrown with weeds, and the once grand porch sagged sadly to one side. The front door was unlocked, as if it were waiting just for her. She stepped inside, and the air immediately grew cold. Dust motes danced in the thin shafts of sunlight that pierced through the grimy windows. The silence was thick, a heavy blanket that seemed to absorb every sound she made. Her footsteps echoed on the wooden floors as she wandered from room to room. Empty chairs were covered in white sheets, looking like ghosts sitting in a circle. A grand piano sat in the corner of the ballroom, its keys yellowed with age. She imagined the music that once filled these halls, the laughter of people long gone. Her exploration led her upstairs down a long, dark hallway. At the very end, a single door was slightly ajar. Pushing it open, she found a bedroom, mostly empty except for a large, ornate mirror leaning against the far wall. The frame was carved with twisting vines and strange, distorted faces that seemed to watch her. Unlike everything else in the house, the mirror's surface was perfectly clean, shining as if someone had just polished it. It felt out of place, too perfect for such a decaying, forgotten room. It drew her closer, a silent invitation she couldn't resist. Lily stood before it, expecting to see her own reflection, her brown hair tied back in a ponytail and her favorite blue t-shirt. But the girl in the mirror was not her. Not exactly. It was her, but from a different time, a memory she had almost forgotten. The girl in the glass was younger, her face streaked with tears, her shoulders shaking with silent sobs. It was the day her family had moved away from her childhood home, a day of deep sadness. She watched, frozen, as the reflection of her past self cried endlessly, trapped in a single, painful moment. A chill ran down Lily's spine, a cold that had nothing to do with the drafty old house. Why would the mirror show her that? Why this specific memory? She remembered that day so clearly. The feeling of loss, the emptiness in her chest. The girl in the mirror looked so heartbroken, so utterly alone. Lily felt a strange pull of pity, a need to comfort the weeping child even though the child was her. It was like watching a movie of her saddest day, played on a loop just for her. She couldn't look away, mesmerized by the sorrow in the glass. She took a hesitant step closer. The crying girl in the mirror didn't seem to notice her. Her eyes were cast downward, fixed on some unseen point of grief. Lily raised her hand, her fingers trembling slightly as she reached out toward the cold surface. She wanted to understand what was happening. Was this a trick of the light? Was her mind playing games with her in this creepy, silent place? The air in the room grew heavier, and a faint, almost inaudible whisper seemed to slither from the mirror's frame. A sound like rustling leaves or a snake in the grass. As her fingertips brushed against the glass, the reflection suddenly changed. The crying girl looked up. Her eyes, red and swollen, locked onto Lily's. The sadness in them was replaced by something else, something desperate and hungry. A jolt, like static electricity, shot up Lily's arm. The connection was immediate and terrifying. The girl in the mirror was no longer just a memory. She was real. She was aware. And she was looking right at Lily, with an intensity that made her want to run, to scream, to get away from this awful, impossible thing. But it was too late to run. The girl in the mirror moved, her actions mirroring Lily's no longer. She pressed her own hand against the glass from the other side, her palm meeting Lily's perfectly. The glass felt strange, not solid anymore but soft and yielding, like cold water. Lily tried to pull her hand back, but she couldn't, it was stuck fast. The reflection's fingers wrapped around hers, a grip of impossible strength. Panic seized Lily's heart as she realized her terrible mistake. This was not just a mirror, it was a trap. A scream caught in Lily's throat, but no sound came out. The girl in the mirror, her other self, smiled, cold and triumphant. With a sudden tug, Lily was pulled toward the glass, her feet leaving the floor. The mirror became liquid and she was dragged through into a cold, silver world. Her arm, then her head, vanished into the shimmering surface. Suddenly she stood in a silent, colorless version of her bedroom. Through the glass she saw the real room, bright with sunlight. And there, in her place, stood the other Lily, the reflection. The reflection turned and walked away, footsteps echoing in the real world. Lily was left alone, a silent prisoner in the gray world behind the glass. In the mirror world, time stood still. There was only endless twilight. Lily watched the real world through the glass, trapped and forgotten. Her reflection self walked free, living the life stolen from her. Sometimes, strangers came to the mansion. Ghost hunters, explorers, or kids on a dare. Lily screamed for help, her face twisted in a silent cry behind the glass. Once a medium saw her and whispered, "There's a lost child in there." But no one stayed. No one helped. Still, hope flickered in Lily's eyes. One day someone would see her and set her free.